cut across to a CNBC TV18 exclusive interview. Shereen Bhan is interviewing the Civil Aviation Minister, Ashok Gajapathi Raju, as we speak. Listen in.
Well, thanks very much. That is right. Joining us now for his first reaction on the new FDI policy governing the aviation sector is the Aviation Minister, Mr. Gajapathi Raju. So appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV18. Let me start by asking you about the kind of interest that you expect now that the FDI cap for the aviation sector has been moved to 100%. So while it continues to be capped at 49% for foreign carriers, the cap has been raised across the board to 100%. What kind of interest do you expect to come in?
If an inquiry comes in, we are willing to go up to that extent. This is a decision that has come out of our Commerce and Finance departments, and I think it will help Indian aviation because it will get more investment in the sector. But there's basically a case-to-case thing. It's not an automatic type of a route. It has to come to government and get its approval.
No, you're absolutely right that it's through the government approval route, but can we then assume, sir, that the windows have opened up, for instance, for a 100% foreign-owned airline? So what will now stop, and of course it depends on government clearances, but for instance, a foreign carrier can tie up with the sovereign wealth fund, come together and launch a greenfield airline in India. Does it now open up the room for a new greenfield carrier that can be 100% foreign-owned?
No, it can. Theoretically, it can. But government will have to decide it on the, say, case-to-case type of a basis, whether this is really required or not. But theoretically, it can. As of today, it can.
No, but surely that is the purpose behind this move to 100%. I mean, you obviously expect someone to want to come in through the greenfield route, 100% foreign-owned venture. Isn't that the rationale behind deciding to go all the way up to 100%? Because if you continue to cap the foreign carriers at 49%, then the likes of Etihad, AirAsia, Singapore Airlines cannot increase their stake in their Indian joint ventures. So what is the purpose then of this 100% change?
No, you are inviting people to come over because this is a very vibrant sector. Your growths are the highest literally in the world. So it has a potential, and the more you open up, the more players come in. So that advantage would come.
Okay. Has there been any interest that's been expressed by any foreign airline, any foreign fund, sovereign wealth fund, for instance, to try and explore opportunities in India, sir? Has there been any interest shown, to your knowledge?
No, till now there's nothing that has come, no inquiry has come to us. But this sector is just about being, the announcement was made on the 20th. So I guess everybody will be thinking about it, and that way it's an idea worth working on. So let's see where it takes us.
Do you have any information, sir, that any of the existing players, and there is only one at this point in time that has the headroom to hike its stake, which is Etihad, that still has headroom to hike its stake all the way up to 49%. Does the government have any information on whether Etihad is keen to hike its stake in its venture with Jet Airways?
No, I have no information on that. On individual airlines, I have no information as of now whether they are interested or not interested. But this definitely, when it is 49%, one can go up to that level.
Okay. Let me ask you, sir, and move away from the FDI changes and just talk a little bit about the National Civil Aviation Policy as well. One would have imagined that we could have seen some sort of direction in terms of what you intend doing with the national carrier Air India. What is the plan, sir? Because, every couple of weeks we hear about the possibility of it being a contender as far as the strategic disinvestment plan is concerned. There are unlikely to be any takers given the debt burden that it's sitting on. But what is directionally now the plan for Air India?
You see, Air India, this is the first year. It hasn't gone into an operating loss. Its books are bad. It's a nice airline, and I guess the people involved with Air India have to work cohesively as a team. because where they work cohesively as a team, they can deliver, they have the capability. But we can't commit the taxpayers' money for eternity just to keep it afloat. So that's
so
the
what does that
stage
mean,
it is
sir, when you
in
say
as
that
of
you
now.
cannot commit taxpayers' money in eternity to keep it afloat? Are we to assume then that there is some sort of a stop-loss plan as far as Air India is concerned, or is it likely to be a contender in the strategic disinvestment list?
You see, as of now, it has a turnaround plan and a financial reconstruction plan in place. And these are being monitored by the ministry, the regular intervals. They are sticking to those targets, and if they stick to it, there are chances are that it will survive, and then options will get opened up at some future date.
So you're hoping for a turnaround. Is there any internal timeline? When does your patience start to run out, sir?
If you ask me, I would like them because they are capable of performing. So if they perform, it's good. It's good for them, it's good for the country, it's good for everyone. It's a lovely airline.
Okay, let me then ask you about the compromise that's happened as far as the 5/20 is concerned. You've done away with the 5, you've stuck with the 20. We were talking to companies like Vistara that say that they will be able to add another 10-odd aircraft to their fleet to take it to 20 in the next 2 years and perhaps fly international by 2018. Do you see companies like Vistara and AirAsia India being able now to go international with the kind of stipulations that you put forward?
You see, the thing is, why 20 you're asking? Yes, India is a big country and regional connectivity is the commitment of this government. So to make regional connectivity happen, we expect Indian players to serve India first. Indian skies are the most important thing. So because there are profitable routes outside, there are unprofitable routes outside, same in the country, there are profitable routes within the country, and there are unprofitable routes. But we would like Indian players to serve Indian skies. This is important to us. So therefore, we thought that that 20 figure is a good figure because it's there, and we worked around it that way.
Okay. I want to also talk to you about this business of capping of fares, and you've obviously had stakeholder consultations. This is another move that hasn't gone down too well as far as industry is concerned. And I also want to understand how this capping of fares then aligns itself to the government's idea or philosophy of minimum government and maximum governance, because this seems like the ministry is sort of tinkering with market economics and market pricing.
You see, what has happened is we have unserved airports. So this figure of 2,500 has come to serve those unserved airports to a served airport, to connect it. Nobody is thinking of capping anything. We are requesting the airlines, because this had also come in Parliament, and we had answered the question, we had done an analysis, and 1.7% of the ticketing was at the higher this thing. It was a cause of concern. So 98% or more of the ticketing in a year, competition is taking care of it. So that is heartening. So nobody wants to throw a damper in competition. Caps necessarily means floors. So when you have caps, you push up the floors. I don't think any government will agree to push up the price of tickets to a majority of people to serve a minority. That problem in the unconnected areas, unserved areas, there was also a thinking that in India we have a sizable middle class, which would, whose incomes would be about an average European also will earn about that much. But we are not using air as a mode of travel. So one of the reasons, or rather two of the reasons, was proximity of the airports and price. So this has been addressed in this policy. We intend to raise some money for a viability gap funding, and we intend to put that. So the airlines get, they can participate. The whole thing is being worked out. It should be a transparent scheme. So airlines can get two streams of revenue, one from the passenger and one from this viability gap funding to connect that airport. And those airlines who are interested will participate. We anticipate the, what do you call it, the spread to be good and more when this becomes a reality. And India is a big country, so we need it.
Sure. Since we're talking about airport infrastructure, I also want to talk to you about the road ahead as far as the Airports Authority of India is concerned, sir. And if you can hear me, I'll repeat that. I wanted to understand what the road ahead for the Airports Authority of India is concerned, because there is some degree of disappointment on what the government intends to do with the AI, and not enough has been spelled out in terms of reforming the AI. And linked to that then is the question of regional connectivity in terms of airport infrastructure. What can we expect now realistically on that front?
You see, AI is an organization which has built up airports all around the country. All of them do not give it an economic return. Most of them are kind of cross-subsidized by other airports. This is the fact of the case. Now there are demands for fresh connectivity. That also is there. So AI has a role. We have asked them to go into this air standard, quality standards and things like that, which are the benchmarks of the quality of service payers around the world. So similar things they have started doing. But this fact remains that they have to still connect a lot of places which are unconnected within the country. And they are at it. They have their plans to put in infrastructure about in the next 5 years, something like 14,000 crore. So I think it's a good thing. They are in the right direction anyway. A lot can be said that they have not risen to their potential. But then that is a perception.
But Mr. Raju, there was at least talk of the possibility of listing of the Airports Authority of India. Does that plan still stand? Have you totally given up on the idea? What can we now expect? And also in terms of the new airports that we were expecting the government to bid out, there's been a lot of back and forth on that front. Give us a sense of what we should realistically expect.
You see, I think Airports Authority will take up a few new airports in the near future for construction, greenfield airports throughout the country. As it is, they have about 31, 32 airports around there which are inactive. So I guess this viability gap funding will make quite a few of them active. So an active airport contributes to the economy. An inactive airport is like a non-performing fund or non-performing asset. So we don't want to increase the non-performing assets. We want to do an objective study as to where these new airports are likely to become economically viable in a reasonable period of time. So I guess some objective parameters will be developed, and according to that, these things will go on. But it's a good organization. It's serving the country well, and I think it will continue to serve the country.
Since we're talking about organizational reforms, one area of disappointment also is the fact that we haven't seen the policy spell out, or the government spell out its plans in terms of revamping or reforming the DGCA, as well as the sort of safety and security infrastructure in the country. What can we expect on that front? Is this something that you are considering or looking into, even though the policy doesn't address it specifically?
You see, DGCA is basically safety. It's a regulator. DGCA is a regulator. It's basically deals with safety. Now, India was downgraded during the tenure of the previous government. We are back, and I think our safety record is good. Indian skies are safe, and the overview on safety is good. With regard to security, Bureau of Civil Aviation Security, BCAS as they call it, they set the standards and they do the security audits, and they are sensitive to the fact, and it's a professional organization run by trained police men. So that way, It has served the country well, and Indian safety or security is never to be compromised, and it never will.
But Mr. Raju, is there any thought, you said that the government is not looking at capping airfares, but is there any thought of bringing in any kind of an upper limit as far as ancillary revenues are concerned? Is there a feeling that perhaps airlines are getting away with being arbitrary as far as ancillary pricing is concerned?
You see, there are guidelines and rules which the airlines have to follow. As of now, they have their own baskets which they declare. And these are in the public domain, what their minimums are, what their maximums are. But they are free to do that. But one thing, they are getting a bad name on only 1.7% of the total ticketing. So we put it to them that why are you trying to get a bad name? And we also urge them now, when we see their ticketing as a whole, the bulk of the ticketing is being sold closer to the lower baskets, not at the upper prices. So for a small thing, they are getting a bad name. That is one thing. In our interactions, one of the thoughts they put across is it not possible to generate additional capacity at that point? Because if ticketing prices have come down, it is because of capacity additions that have happened in the country. So that was one thinking, but that will also mean some work, mean some probably additional aircrafts. It would mean a lot of other things also. So I guess one will have to work on it and keep persuading them, keep interacting with them, and try and see as far as they are reasonable, they should come down. Like they have responded to advisories in the past, when Srinagar had floods, when Chennai had floods. They had this thing, and say Chennai floods, from Chennai to Hyderabad, they sold tickets for 2,000 rupees at that time. Though Meenambakam airport was underwater, so the military airport at
Are we expecting the government to issue any fresh advisories, sir?
No, definitely, depending on situations, we will be interacting with the airlines, and they do respond. What they feel this thing are reasonable, they do respond. You see, government by law and regulation might have this thing to have the power, but the power has to be used judiciously. And as it is, prices of tickets have not really gone very much up if you compare it with, say, 1994. I would go up to that level, when government used to clear the pricing of tickets.
Right. Well, what can we expect next, sir? Before I let you go, is there any possibility of a new carrier launching in India anytime soon, a new greenfield carrier launching in India anytime soon, given the change in the FDI regulation?
In the past 2 years, there are new carriers that have come in the regional side. On the national side, Vistara is the only thing I think that has come in the past 2 years. Just before the government changed, I think Air Asia did come in. So that way, some airlines will come in, and we hope all of them will survive and thrive and serve the Indian people. We don't want any Kingfisher incidents. So that's what we are all working at.
All right, sir, we will let it go at that, but appreciate you joining us here and taking us through the implications of the new FDI regime for the aviation sector, as well as the new civil aviation policy. The aviation minister speaking there to CNBC TV 18. Appreciate your time, so thank you very much for joining.